Trace, I want to go back to something that also is very different about your entrepreneurial journey that I have not run into many people that are like you. It is so hard to be successful in business, right? You were having this tremendous success with this food truck with the burgers and fries, and you somehow took the emotion out of it. Most people would have franchised it. They would have said, I'm having success. This is the easiest path for me to go into, if you wanted to go into franchising. It would have been the easy answer, and nobody would have questioned you on that. But you recognized by what you had to do was really, like you said, solve a problem. And I got to go back to that because most people go into franchising for the wrong reasons. And you realize this wasn't just a matter of, hey, I'm, you know, you didn't have this, just this entrepreneurial thought, like I've got a franchise and I'm going to just take this model, but you made sure it was going to really work. And most people don't do that.
Yeah. I mean, I got a lot of thoughts swirling as you say that, like you say that would have been the easiest route. I seem to always find the hardest route for things sometimes, but it's not about what's the easiest, it's about what's right. And I'm not just trying to do this for the quick buck. I'm young, got a lot of energy. Our team's got a lot of energy, and we've surrounded ourselves with great people that we're in this for the long haul. I don't think that we're going to impact any change with the issues that I just mentioned by just opening a couple of these things and selling it off or something. So we really want to grow this across the country and do it the right way. And one of my favorite quotes from Jeff Bezos is that you're stubborn on the long-term vision, flexible on the short-term details. So that was a pretty big detail to be flexible on with the entire concept.
Right.
But when I've got a couple of great mentors, my grandfather was one of my best mentors, but they all told me that you need to focus on the long term. Nothing is more important than your mission. And there wasn't anything that I really resonated with about doing burgers, fries, and alcohol, other than it's great, they tasted great, and it's fun, but we didn't really change any problems, solve any issues. And I think that to get a bunch of other people on board, to get other franchisees, it's really important that they resonate with our mission and that they understand what we're trying to do and what we're trying to change in America.
Yeah, well, Trace, I think we should take this time to establish where you are in your franchise journey. So I understand you've got the one company, or two corporate locations, correct? Right, in North Idaho, and then you've just awarded you have one franchise that's open. It's a 5-unit deal, right?
That's right. Yeah. So we're just getting started on that. So we just started Konala. We bought the property for Konala 5 years ago and fine-tuned everything before we got it open. So we thought, I didn't want to make all these changes with franchisees. So we were pretty unique that we started working with iFranchise maybe 4 years ago or something. I'd have to look, but it was a long time ago, long time before we actually opened the first store. So we were working with franchise partners and just trying to fine-tune the concept before it was even open, so that our first store was like a test opening with our systems we created. So like I said, we bought that property over 5 years ago. We went through over 300 different menu variations that we're testing on our current customers of our other concept and just getting feedback on everyone, creating the systems for it, over 300 menu variations. And then we opened May 1st.
All right, Trace, hold on a second. Nobody does that. Come on here. That is incredible. Nobody puts that much preparation into their business before they open. You know, most people are, and I like to say, they kind of jump off the cliff and build the plane on the way down. You know, we've heard that phrase over and over again on this podcast. I mean, you built out an entire airport and a fleet of planes before you jumped.
That was a plan, but then we still realized that there was a lot to build once opening too. But yeah, we created it for franchising. I love the franchise model, and the passion for that is just working with other high-level entrepreneurs. I don't want to work by myself. Our margins in this concept are very good enough that we don't ever need to franchise. We could just continue opening the stores ourselves, but I really just want to work with other entrepreneurs. That's the most fulfilling thing to me, is like our team is the best, and I love working with them every day. And there's nothing that really, like, the selfish fulfillment comes from working with other high-level people. So that's why I like the franchise model. But yeah, we really wanted to build this for franchising. So, I mean, I told you we bought that property 5 years ago. So while we were creating this concept, it was front of mind every single day that COVID was happening. So the the issues with staffing were always at the forefront. I wanted to create as simple of a model as possible. One of my favorite sayings is simple scales, fancy fails. So I'm famous for always telling our staff, like, how can we simplify this? Another quote is, the definition of perfection is not when there's nothing left to add, but nothing else to take away. So I love keeping it as simple as possible to scale. But the staffing issues with COVID was always front of mind. So we wanted to create as efficient of a layout that we don't need, efficient of layout, equipment, menu, everything, that we keep that small team so we could overpay them and fix the turnover issues as well. There's 240% average turnover in QSR, and we're under 50%. We haven't hired anyone in 5 months, and we have a wait list for hiring for our stores. So the issues with staffing, I think we fixed, and that's through the simplicity of the kitchen. And then I'm an equipment nerd coming from the food truck. I mean, you also are used to working with a very efficient small space. We had a 14.5-foot long kitchen. So now coming into drive-thrus, I mean, our first building is 1,047 square feet, and our other prototype models are just under 700 square feet. And even with the inside seating ones, about 1,400 square feet. So it's a very efficient layout, and I learned that from food trucks. Learned many things from the food truck, actually. That's why we do face-to-face ordering systems. So picture like a Dutch Bros. That's what we do. You pull up to the window and order at the window from a human. Anytime there's 2 or more cars, we go outside with tablets and take their order. So you're always ordering from a person, never an order speaker, no headsets. That also simplifies the equipment and the kitchen layout. But everyone's going to automation and trying to do these AI drive-thrus. I never want to do that. I like that face-to-face interaction. So we'll keep those face-to-face ordering systems. That was another one that we learned from the food truck. But yeah, it was really just created to be as simple as possible, that we can, if we get our labor model down, then we can make the restaurant model more profitable than you typically see. So what's in our FDD, we actually, like, our first 12 months, we were only open 6 days a week, from I think 10:30 a.m. to 8:30 p.m. while we were still fine-tuning stuff even after we opened. And like I told you, over 300 menus before we opened, I still wanted to test everything that a franchisee might ask. So we had 24 different menus since we've opened. And most of that was within the first 6 months. That was solving all the issues we were seeing systematically, the consistency issues, just to have a higher quality food product and to keep that speed. So we're under a 3-minute average wait time, which we're beating those numbers. And we expanded to open 7 days a week, 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. And once we did that, we put in our 6-month sales of that open 7 days a week into our FDD. We did $18,000 in sales in 6 months, and we only had a 16.7% cost of labor. So where the average in the industry is 30%, that's typically the mark people want to see. We're almost half that, while still overpaying people. Minimum wage is still the federal minimum wage in Idaho, and we pay people over 2 times to triple the minimum wage for their starting hourly.
Trace, you're going to be a force in franchising, man. I feel it.
Hope so.
Thank you for tuning into the Emerging Franchise Brands podcast. For additional insights, guest applications, and to stay connected, visit us at efbpodcast.com. The Emerging Franchise Brands podcast is for entertainment purposes only, and the views expressed do not necessarily represent those of Emerging Franchise Brands, its host Frank Fumey, or Emerging Franchise Group, LLC. Any discussed franchise or investment opportunity requires thorough investigation, obtaining proper disclosure documents, and expert consultation before making any investment decisions. The podcast and its host do not offer professional advice or endorsements, and they hold no responsibility for actions, representations, accuracy, or consequential damages related to the podcast content.